Right then, Forest faithful. Something extraordinary is happening at the city ground, and if you think you know what's coming, think again. 3 matches. Just 3 bloody matches. And Ange Postecoglou has already torn up everything we thought we knew about this club. The numbers don't lie, and what I'm about to tell you will change how you see this team forever. Picture this. 63.3% possession against Burnley. Doesn't sound revolutionary? Well, it's the highest percentage Forest have managed in any Premier League match since coming back up in 2022. That's not evolution. That's complete transformation. But wait, there's more. And this gets proper mad. Elliot Anderson completed 98 passes in that match. 98! To put that in perspective, that's more successful passes than any Forest player has managed in 4 entire seasons back in the top flight. Zinchenko hit 88 passes on his debut. These aren't just numbers, these are seismic shifts. Here's where it gets interesting, though. We've got a center-back who's been carrying knocks, a European adventure that's been 29 years in the making, and tactical changes so dramatic that the lads are breaking records they didn't even know existed. But here's what's keeping me up at night, and it should keep you thinking too. With all this beautiful football, all these passes, all this possession, why haven't we won a single match yet? And that's not even the biggest story brewing right now. You want to know what's really happening behind the scenes. What Postecoglou told the press that nobody's talking about? Which player might miss our historic European return? And why our attacking statistics are telling a completely different story to our results. Right. Smash that like button now if you're ready for this journey, because what comes next is going to blow your mind. Comment below if you think this tactical revolution is exactly what Forest needed, or if you're worried we're losing our identity. The first revelation will change everything you think you know about this manager's impact. Let's dive in. He's the Brazilian who's become absolutely essential to everything we do at the back. The defender who marshals our line, organizes our shape, and quite frankly makes everyone around him look better. But there's been whispers, concerns, proper worry about whether he'd be ready for the biggest night in decades. I'm talking about Murillo. And the latest update on his fitness is absolutely massive for what lies ahead. Now, let's be clear about what happened here. Our boy picked up a knock against Arsenal, didn't he? Nothing too serious on the surface, but serious enough to keep him out of that frustrating draw at Burnley. And with Real Betis looming on Wednesday night, our first European match in 29 bloody years, every Forest fan was holding their breath. But here's where Ange Postecoglou showed exactly why the board backed him. Speaking to the press, the gaffer was cautiously optimistic but realistic. He confirmed Murillo has been completing individual training work, putting in the hard yards to get himself right. The Brazilian's been working through his rehabilitation program, and crucially, he's showing all the right signs. What's brilliant about this situation is how it highlights the depth we've built. Under previous managers, losing Murillo would have been catastrophic. Our entire defensive structure would have crumbled. But Postecoglou's system means we can adapt, we can adjust, we can still play our way. Think about it though. Murillo's importance goes way beyond just defending. In this new possession-based system, he's one of our key ball-playing center backs. He's the one who starts those intricate passing sequences from deep. He's comfortable stepping into midfield when needed. He's absolutely crucial to this tactical transformation we're witnessing. The timing couldn't be more perfect either. Just as we're about to embark on this European adventure, just as Postecoglou is revolutionizing how we play, we need our defensive leader fit and firing. The fact he's likely to be available for Seville is massive news that's been overshadowed by all the tactical talk. But here's what's really interesting. Even with Murillo potentially missing against Burnley, look how solid we were defensively. We conceded just 1 goal, and that was more about individual errors than systematic problems. It shows this new approach isn't just about pretty patterns of play. It's got substance, it's got resilience. And let's talk about the bigger picture for a moment. Murillo's contract situation, his commitment to the club despite transfer interest, his adaptation to yet another tactical system. It all points to a player who's absolutely central to our long-term ambitions. Having him available for our European return would be the perfect symbol of how far we've come. The question is, though, and I want to hear from you in the comments, do you think Murillo's the missing piece that turns these impressive performances into actual victories? Or are our problems more complex than one player? Drop your thoughts below, because what's coming next will show you just how historic this European journey really is. 29 years. 29 long, painful, hope-crushing years since Nottingham Forest last heard that beautiful Champions League anthem echoing around a European stadium. A generation of supporters who've never experienced European nights, never felt that electricity, never witnessed their club mixing it with continental giants. But Wednesday night in Seville changes everything. Real Betis versus Nottingham Forest. And mate, just writing those words gives me goosebumps. Let's put this moment in proper perspective, shall we? The last time Forest played in Europe, Tony Blair wasn't even Prime Minister. The internet was something most people had barely heard of. Mobile phones were the size of bricks. Ange Postecoglou was still playing professional football in Australia. It was March 1996, and Bayern Munich knocked us out of what was then called the UEFA Cup. The journey from that low point to Wednesday night in Andalusia is nothing short of miraculous. 4 years ago, we were scrapping in the championship, wondering if we'd ever see the Premier League again. Now, we're automatically qualified for the Europa League phase, taking our place among Europe's established elite. But here's what makes this European return even more special. The timing couldn't be more perfect. Just as Postecoglou is transforming how we play, just as we're breaking passing records and dominating possession like never before, we get to test ourselves against proper European opposition. Real Betis finished 6th in La Liga last season, reached the Conference League final, and they're managed by Manuel Pellegrini, a coach who knows a thing or two about European football. This isn't some gentle introduction back to continental competition. This is jumping in at the deep end against quality opposition. The logistics alone tell the story of how massive this is. Thousands of Forest fans are planning the exodus to Seville. The club's issued comprehensive travel guidance. Supporters are booking flights, organizing trips, planning nights they'll remember forever. It's not just a football match, it's a pilgrimage. Think about what this represents for different generations of our fan base. For older supporters, it's vindication of their loyalty through decades of disappointment. They remember the glory days, they've waited patiently, and now they get to see Forest back where they belong. For younger fans, it's completely uncharted territory, the chance to experience something their parents and grandparents have been telling them about for years. But here's the beautiful paradox we're facing. We're going into this historic European return with a completely different style of play than ever before. Previous Forest teams in Europe were built on counterattacks, defensive solidity, and nicking goals on the break. Postecoglou's Forest want to control the ball, dictate the tempo, and play through opposition pressure. It's like we're announcing our European comeback with a completely new identity. And that takes some serious bottle, doesn't it? Most managers would play it safe for such a massive occasion. But our Ange? He's doubling down on his philosophy. The question that's burning in my mind, though, and tell me what you think in the comments, is whether this possession-based approach will actually suit European competition better than domestic football. European teams respect technical ability. They understand patient build-up play. Maybe this is exactly the stage where Postecoglou's methods will truly shine. What do you reckon? Are you buzzing about this European adventure, or are you nervous about such a dramatic change in approach for such a huge moment? Let me know, because the next story shows exactly how this tactical revolution is already changing everything. The numbers are in, and they're absolutely staggering. What we witnessed at Turf Moor on Saturday wasn't just another frustrating draw. It was statistical proof that a footballing revolution is underway at Nottingham Forest. And the deeper you dig into the analysis, the more remarkable this transformation becomes. Here's the headline that should have every Forest fan excited. We created our highest number of quality chances in a single Premier League match this season. Despite the disappointing result, despite the frustration of dropping 2 points, the underlying metrics are screaming that something special is brewing. Let's break down exactly what happened against Burnley, because the story these numbers tell is extraordinary. Forest registered 17 shots, 17, with 8 of those hitting the target. We forced Martin Dubravka into 7 saves and dominated territorial possession like we've never done before in the Premier League era. But here's where it gets properly interesting. Those 24 passing sequences of 10 or more moves aren't just impressive, they're unprecedented. That's 6 more than our previous best total across 4 entire seasons back in the top flight. We're not talking about gradual improvement. This is revolutionary change happening in real time. The attacking evolution under Postecoglou isn't just about pretty patterns, though. It's about sustainable chance creation. It's about controlling matches. It's about dictating terms rather than reacting to opponents. For too long, Forest have been the team that hopes for the best, that relies on individual moments of magic or defensive mistakes from opponents. Now we're the team that methodically builds attacks, that patiently probes for weaknesses, that creates multiple opportunities through systematic play, even when the final ball doesn't find its target, even when the finishing lets us down. The process is absolutely sound. What's fascinating about this tactical shift is how it's changing individual players' roles. Chris Wood isn't just a target man anymore. He's the focal point of intricate passing moves. Morgan Gibbs-White isn't just creating from deep. He's orchestrating entire phases of play. Elliot Anderson isn't just breaking up attacks. He's starting them with those record-breaking passing numbers. The post-match analysis revealed something else crucial. Our defensive structure remained solid even while committing more players to attack. We're not sacrificing defensive stability for attacking ambition. We're finding that perfect balance that allows us to dominate possession without becoming vulnerable on the break. But here's what's really got me thinking, and it should concern every opponent we face. If these are the numbers after just 3 matches under Postecoglou, imagine what we'll look like after 3 months. Imagine the havoc we'll cause once these patterns become completely automatic, once every player knows exactly where his teammates will be. The frustrating thing, of course, is that all these positive indicators haven't translated into victories yet. But that's football, isn't it? Sometimes the process comes before the results. Sometimes you have to trust the method before you see the rewards. And here's where I need to hear from you. Are you convinced by these underlying numbers? Do you believe this attacking evolution will eventually lead to the results we're craving? Or are you worried that we're overcomplicating what used to be a simple, effective approach? The beauty of football is that statistics don't always tell the complete story, but they sure as hell suggest which direction we're heading. And right now, every metric is pointing towards something very special indeed. Comment below with your thoughts, because what's coming next will show you exactly how this statistical revolution is changing individual players. There's a moment that perfectly encapsulates everything Ange Postecoglou is doing to this football club. Picture this: Nikola Milenkovic, our Serbian center back, a defender. Mind you, charging forward to the edge of Burnley's penalty area, picking out Chris Wood with a precision pass that would make midfielders jealous. Under any previous Forest manager, that moment would have been unthinkable. Center backs stayed back. They defended. They hoofed the ball long when under pressure. They certainly didn't go on marauding runs into attacking positions. But that single moment tells the story of this complete tactical transformation, better than any statistic ever could. This isn't just about passing records, though breaking them is certainly impressive. This isn't just about possession percentages, though dominating the ball like never before is remarkable. This is about a philosophical revolution that's changing how every single player approaches their role on the pitch. Look at how Postecoglou has reimagined this entire squad in just 3 matches. Elliot Anderson, who was brought in as a box-to-box midfielder, is now the heartbeat of our build-up play. That 98-pass performance against Burnley wasn't just impressive. It was a statement of intent about how central he is to everything we do. Zinchenko's integration has been seamless because he understands this system inherently. At Arsenal, under a different manager but with similar principles, he learned how fullbacks can become creative forces. Now he's bringing that intelligence to Forest, completing 88 passes in his Premier League debut for us. 88 passes from a left-back. That's not defending, that's orchestrating. But here's what's most remarkable about this transformation. It's not forcing players to abandon their strengths. It's amplifying them. Chris Wood is still our target man, but now he's receiving the ball in better positions because of the intricate build-up play. Morgan Gibbs-White is still our creative spark, but now he's got more time and space because opponents can't just press us and force long balls. The contrast with Nuno Espirito Santo's approach couldn't be starker. Last season, we ranked 18th and 19th in build-up sequences and progressive passing. We were reactive, defensive, pragmatic to a fault. It worked for a while, got us to third in the table at one point, but it wasn't sustainable, was it? Now we're leading the Premier League in build-up sequences. Leading! From 18th to 1st in the space of 3 matches. That's not gradual improvement. That's wholesale reinvention of our footballing identity. The beautiful thing about this approach is how it affects the entire team's confidence. When you're comfortable with the ball, when you trust your teammates to be in the right positions, when you know the system inside out, you play with a freedom that's infectious. You can see it in how players are taking extra touches, looking for the more adventurous pass, supporting attacks in numbers. But let's be honest about the elephant in the room. With all this possession, all these passes, all this tactical evolution, we still haven't won a match under Postecoglou. The results aren't matching the process yet, and that's going to test everyone's patience. The question is whether we trust the method long enough to see the rewards. Do we believe in this beautiful football even when it doesn't immediately translate into 3 points? Do we accept that revolutions take time, even when they look this promising? I keep coming back to that moment with Milenkovic bombing forward. It's symbolic of everything we're becoming. Brave, progressive, unafraid to take risks. But football isn't played on paper, is it? It's played on pitches where one moment of brilliance or one defensive error can decide everything. So tell me, are you buying into this tactical revolution? Do you trust that the results will eventually match the performances? Or are you worried that we're sacrificing the pragmatic approach that got us this far? Your thoughts in the comments, because the final story will tie everything together. Right then, here we are, stood at this incredible crossroads in Nottingham Forest's history. Everything I've just told you, the tactical revolution, the European return, the statistical transformation, the individual evolution. It all comes together into one absolutely crucial question that defines everything about our immediate future. Are we witnessing the birth of something truly special? Or are we overthinking what used to work perfectly well? Because let's be brutally honest about where we stand right now. 3 matches under Postecoglou, 0 victories. Beautiful football that's breaking records but not breaking down stubborn defenses. A European adventure that comes at exactly the moment we're completely reinventing our identity. It's exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. The optimistic view says we're building something sustainable, something that will serve us brilliantly in both domestic and European competition. These patient passing sequences, this territorial dominance, this confidence on the ball, it's the foundation for long-term success at the highest level. European teams respect technical ability. They understand possession-based football. Maybe Wednesday night in Seville is where this new approach truly announces itself. But the pessimistic voice whispers something different, doesn't it? It asks whether we're losing the very qualities that made us special in the first place. That defensive solidity, that counter-attacking threat, that ability to dig deep and grind out results when the pretty football doesn't work. Are we sacrificing our identity for the sake of aesthetics? Think about our greatest moments since returning to the Premier League. That famous victory over Liverpool, those crucial wins that kept us up, the incredible run that got us into Europe in the first place. None of them came from dominating possession or completing 500 passes. They came from heart, from determination, from doing the ugly things when they mattered most. The truth is probably somewhere in between, isn't it? Football isn't black and white. You can evolve without abandoning your soul. You can become more technical without losing your fighting spirit. Maybe what Postecoglou is doing is adding layers to our game rather than completely replacing what came before. What excites me most is the potential this approach has for individual players. Gibbs White flourishing in a system that gives him time and space. Anderson breaking passing records because he's finally in an environment that appreciates his technical ability. Even Wood benefiting from better service and more varied attacking patterns. But what worries me is the adaptation period. How long before these complex passing sequences become automatic? How many points might we drop while players are still learning their roles? How patient will supporters be if the beautiful football doesn't translate into results quickly enough? Here's what I believe. We're living through the most significant tactical shift in Forest's modern history. Whether it succeeds or fails will define not just this season, but potentially the next decade of our development. The stakes couldn't be higher. And that European debut on Wednesday? It's not just about Real Betis. It's about announcing to the world that Nottingham Forest are back, and we're back with a completely new vision of what we can become. It's about proving that English football can be technical, patient, and intelligent without losing its soul. So here's what I need from you. Smash that like button if you're excited about this journey we're on. Hit subscribe if you want to follow every twist and turn of this tactical revolution. But most importantly, comment below and tell me, are you backing Postecoglou's methods even if the results take time to come? Because next week, I'll be breaking down exactly what happens when this possession-based approach meets European opposition for the first time. Will it be vindication or reality check? Will Wednesday night in Seville be the moment everything clicks? Or will it expose the weaknesses in this beautiful experiment? One thing's certain, we're about to find out whether this revolution is real or just revolution for revolution's sake.